It's about 10:30 at night, and for some reason I felt compelled to make this video. And the reason for that is because I know a lot of people that are gonna watch this video probably feel the exact same way I do. And tonight was one of those nights that I actually watched television, network television, and I actually had a smile on my face the whole way through as I was watching this thing. And we'll talk about this here a little bit, why I find this so important, why I felt like I needed to make this video. You see, everything that we watch nowadays, whether it's on our TV or our phones, is fed to us. It's an algorithm. You didn't really search out this video, it was probably recommended to you, and good thing it was, because this channel's awesome. You should get subscribed, hit the bell notification. And don't worry, we'll get to the thing that I watched tonight and I'll tell you all about it and why it made me sort of happy. But that's just our society. The algorithm, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever, feeds us what they want us to see. It's not really what we want to see or something that we look forward to watching. And that's not the way it used to be. I remember in the 80s we had TGIF, thank God it was Friday. They had so many cool shows that everybody wanted to watch. And then in the 90s, I mean, that's when the shows were really freaking awesome, at least in my opinion. It had Seinfeld, Friends, they were okay. But you had the King of Queens, you had Everybody Loves Raymond. And there were so many others that are just hard to count. And then the 2000s rolled around and something weird happened. Reality TV really started to take over. I remember True TV, that was a big thing where it's not reality, it's actuality. And a lot of people actually thought a lot of those shows were real. You had Lizard Lick Towing and whatever. Just a bunch of reality shows. I remember getting sucked into American Chopper and Gold Rush and all that stuff. And then everybody started moving away from the cable networks or the regular networks like CBS, NBC, ABC, and started moving more towards these cable channels like True TV and the History Channel and things like that. And then slowly but surely we started watching the sitcoms that we used to love to watch together as a family sort of get pushed to the side, and this new reality shows just started taking over. And again, I can go on, Jersey Shore, just so much crap. And then in the mid-2000s, we ended up watching Modern Family and shows like that, where there were sort of comedy shows, but they were set up as like a documentary style, and there was no laugh tracks, which a lot of people were okay with because a lot of people hated the laugh tracks. Me, I didn't really mind them. And then in between those type of shows in earlier 2000s, you had the American Idols and Dance This and Sing This, and those took over the networks. And then you had the constant game shows where Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was huge, and the next thing you know, there was the show with the briefcases and Howie Mandel, and there was just so much of that crap. You had Survivor, you had Big Brother, and then that brings us to now where I couldn't tell you what's on TV. I think it's crime shows like Dateline. There's a lot of murder going on in these shows. And then recently they started bringing the older shows back and they tried to redo them, and that was a train wreck because they just weren't funny. And a lot of the shows that they were trying to bring back really weren't that funny to begin with, so that was a whole thing. But you're asking yourself, Clint, where are you going with all this? And well, here's where I'm going with it. So tonight, what I watched was a Everybody Loves Raymond reunion show. And to be honest with you, I didn't really want to watch it because, again, I don't watch network TV. And those shows, even though I watch those type of shows and reruns constantly, well, they were nostalgia. And I didn't really want to ruin it with this reunion thing. But all the show really was, if you haven't watched it, was the cast members, or the ones that were surviving cast members, were sitting there talking on a couch about the good old days and talk a little bit about the show and show some clips and all that good stuff. I gotta be honest with you, nostalgia maybe, or maybe it was something else. It just put a smile on my face the entire way through this hour-and-a-half reunion show. I was laughing a little bit. I was watching the show and saying, oh, I remember when they did that skit or whatever like that. And I gotta be honest with you, the cast members were really excited. They seemed really excited to be there. And this one guy, I think he was the producer and a co-creator of the show, was just phenomenal. Like, he was just happy the whole way through, and just, you could tell how proud he was of that show. And it was just a really interesting thing to watch. And I started thinking to myself while I was watching this, why am I smiling so much? And then it sort of dawned on me, well, not only do the shows suck nowadays, there's really nothing family oriented anymore. We don't really talk about family. You know, those shows back in the day, they talked about the everyday issues where the man and the wife had an argument, or when the kids were causing some craziness in the house and then the parents had to deal with it. It was things that we could relate to. And a lot of the stuff that we see nowadays, whether it's Mr. Beast or whatever it is that's hot that moment, we just don't relate to it anymore. We used to have moments back in the day that were called water cooler moments. And if you don't know what that is, it was if you were to watch a football game the night before, or if there was something funny on Saturday Night Live, which again, I haven't watched in years. Maybe it was a funny Seinfeld episode that Kramer did something crazy. We would talk about it the next day. As a society, we would come together and sort of laugh at things together. We would watch things together. We would talk about the funny moments, and we sort of felt bonded. We were brought together because of a common bond that we had. It was that TV show or that movie that we watched that weekend. And it wasn't just a show that you could watch and bond with your coworkers at work or talk about with your friends. These are things that we actually look forward to watching throughout the week. It would be Monday and I couldn't wait till it was Thursday because Seinfeld would be on, or I couldn't wait for Friday because TGI Friday was on. We actually anticipated things. We actually looked forward to seeing certain things. And even though the laugh tracks probably drove a lot of people crazy, I didn't mind them because it felt like a community. I was watching something that other people were watching and thought were funny at the same time. It's almost like watching sports. I never liked to TiVo sports or record sports and then watch them later. I always wanted to watch the football game when the football game was live because I felt like I was connected to the people in the stands, the audience, and we were sharing something together at the same time. And even though I did have a couple shows, even up to a couple years ago, that I really enjoyed. You had the Goldbergs. I really enjoyed The Middle. Even shows like Breaking Bad I thought were awesome. Up to a couple years ago, you still had those water cooler moments. And today, you just don't. The late night shows haven't been funny in years. Saturday Night Live hasn't been funny in years. There are no more family TV shows that you can watch with your kids. Everything's reality or murder investigation, or these reality shows that you literally forget who these people are within a couple weeks. My family still likes to watch Big Brother, but I couldn't tell you the name of the person that won this year. And then on top of all of that, you used to have these shows and these actors and the movie stars that you sort of looked up to. I always looked up to like the rock stars and all that, and I really wanted to meet them, and I always thought that they were really cool people and this and that, because you would always read or see interviews with these people that only showed them in the best light or made them look cool. But then social media came along, and next thing you know, they all started talking. You started hearing what these actors were saying, you started hearing what these rock stars were saying, and you just started thinking to yourself, well, they're just like you and me, and to be honest with you, I don't really like what they're saying. So the social media killed that aspect for a lot of people, and people just don't want to associate with these actors and musicians and all that stuff. But watching this Everybody Loves Raymond reunion, even though that's not for everybody, I mean, I'm at the age now that that show might be old for a lot of people and a lot of people don't care, but it brought something back in me. It brought me the feeling of I was watching something with other people that I didn't know, like there was a community there, and I had a smile on my face. I watched these actors talk about how much they loved the show, and I was watching the audience react, talking about how much they loved the show. And you just don't have that anymore. You don't have those water cooler moments anymore. You just don't feel like you're part of a community anymore, because it seems like everybody's watching something different. Everybody's living in their own bubble. If you see something that you find very funny because the algorithm sent it to you, you have another friend that's never seen it before, never heard of that creator or that person that you watch all the time. So in that sense, as society, there's really no bond that brings us together. I think maybe the only thing that we have is sports, and even then, that's a whole nother video. We'll talk about that some other time. But I guess the reason why I'm making this video is because I know there's other people out there, and even if you didn't watch that reunion or you think this is stupid, I know there's people out there that feel just like me, that think to themselves, what happened? Like, where are we right now as a society? You know, I understand that it doesn't have to be kumbaya, but like, I miss those type of shows. I miss watching TV. I miss bringing the family together in the living room and experiencing a good laugh. And yeah, some of those shows back in the day, you know, some of those jokes wouldn't fly anymore. I get it, but I just found them funny and I found them refreshing, and I watch them all the time. And I just wish that one of these days we could actually turn on a TV and see something like this again. I just wish they would bring back the family comedies. And if they did bring back the family comedies, I just want them to be funny again. I mean, even if you do look at the old Everybody Loves Raymond or King of Queens, it looked like they were recorded on film. It's like the old movies, you know, and now everything's digital and it's just crystal clear. And I just feel that we lost magic when it comes to the movies and the TV shows that we watch nowadays. And it's sad because my kids, they don't watch TV. I don't watch TV. I watch YouTube and TikTok, and the algorithm feeds me what I want to see, and they're doing the same to you. But I don't know. I really want to know what you think. Are you somebody that misses this, or am I just over here being nostalgic? I mean, maybe this is what happens when you get older. I mean, things do change, but I didn't realize that they were going to change the way they changed. I mean, even my parents and their parents, and everybody sort of watched the Walter Cronkites. You know, they had their water cooler moments, you know, the 80s, the 90s, the 60s, the 70s, the 50s, you know, the early 2000s. And then now it just seems different. I don't know. I just figured I had to make this video because I figured there was somebody else out there that sort of missed that nostalgia. Let me know in the comment section below. It was just a little rant and how I thought about things. But get subscribed, hit the bell notification, check out this video right here. Back with more videos soon.